The rain hammered the terracotta roof like 1,000 tiny accusations, but I didn't care. I was kissing her, finally, fiercely, right there in the shadowed alley behind the tapas bar, her lips tasting of salt and sangria and something dangerously like home. Giselle's voice shattered the moment, sharp as a knife through silk. "Talia, what the hell are you doing?" I pulled back, heart slamming against my ribs, the world tilting like the hills of Andalusia after too much wine. Sophia's eyes, those deep, uncharted pools, held mine for one beat too long, a silent plea that said we weren't done, not by a long shot. Born in a family of triplets, both sisters are straight, but I always knew I was different. We came into this world tangled together in a Chicago hospital room on a sticky July morning in 2003, three identical girls with my mother's fiery red curls and my father's stubborn jaw. Giselle, the bold one, always charging ahead like she owned the playground. Mia, the quiet observer, content to trail behind with a book in hand. And me, Talia, the dreamer who stared too long at the girls' soccer team during recess, wondering why their laughter twisted something deep inside me that boys' roughhousing never could. Our family was the picture of Midwestern normalcy: Dad, a sales exec for some agritech firm; Mom, a high school English teacher with a penchant for Hemingway and homemade apple pie. We triplets were their miracle, proof of God's quirky sense of humor. 3 for the price of 1, Dad would joke at barbecues, while Mom fussed over our matching Easter dresses. But even then, as a kid, I felt the pull of an invisible thread tugging me sideways, away from the straight-line paths my sisters followed so effortlessly. It wasn't until we were 13 that the cracks started showing. Giselle got her first boyfriend, Tommy the quarterback, all freckles and fumbling hands. Mia confessed over milkshakes at the diner that she thought Jake from math class was kinda cute. I smiled, nodded, lied about crushing on the pizza delivery guy. Inside, I was unraveling. That summer, flipping through Mom's old issues of Glamour, I lingered on the photos of women in sundresses, not the men beside them. It scared me, that flutter in my chest, like butterflies, but sharper, insistent. I buried it under volleyball practice and sleepovers where we'd braid each other's hair and whisper about proms and princes. By high school, the lie was a second skin. I dated a few boys, safe, forgettable ones who smelled like Axe body spray and teenage awkwardness. Giselle was homecoming queen, Mia the valedictorian. Me. I was the artist, sketching charcoal portraits in the corners of my notebooks, always circling back to the curve of a girl's neck, the way sunlight caught her lashes. "You're such a romantic, Tal," Giselle would tease, slinging an arm around my shoulders. If only she knew how those words landed, heavy as unspoken secrets. Then Dad got the promotion, a 2-year stint in Seville, Spain, heading up the European branch of his company. An adventure. Mom declared, packing our lives into suitcases like it was just a longer road trip. We landed in Malaga on a blistering August day in 2021, the air thick with jasmine and the promise of reinvention. Seville was a fever dream. Winding streets of whitewashed walls, flamenco guitars weeping from open windows, the Guadalquivir river snaking through it all like a vein of liquid gold. Our new home was a rented tri-level in Triana, the Gypsy Quarter, with balconies overlooking the river and a kitchen that smelled eternally of olive oil and garlic. At first, it was magic. Giselle dove into the expat scene, flirting with exchange students at rooftop parties. Mia buried herself in online classes, acing her way toward early college admission. I wandered, sketchbook in hand, capturing the chaos, old women in black lace mantillas haggling at markets, street artists juggling fire under the Giralda's shadow. That's where I met Sophia. It was a Tuesday in September, the kind of day where the heat clings like a lover's regret. I was perched on a bench in the Alcazar Gardens, charcoal smudging my fingers as I drew the intricate tilework of the Patio de los Donceles. She appeared like a mirage, tall, with the effortless grace of someone born to these sun-baked stones. Mid-20s, maybe, her black hair pulled into a messy bun that let loose strands frame her face like brushstrokes. She wore a simple linen shirt rolled to her elbows, khaki pants tucked into boots scuffed from city streets. A tour guide, by the lanyard around her neck, leading a gaggle of American retirees through the arches. Our eyes met when one of her group knocked over my water bottle, sending it rolling toward her feet. She picked it up with a smile that crinkled the corners of her brown eyes, warm, like aged cognac. "Lo siento," she said, but her accent twisted English around the edges, revealing she was fluent. "Clumsy tourists, no." I laughed, too loud, my cheeks burning. "No harm. I'm Talia, by the way. American transplant." "Sophia," she replied, handing it back, her fingers brushing mine just long enough to spark something electric. "Local. What brings you to our little corner of chaos?" We talked for an hour after her tour ended, about the garden's Moorish secrets, her love for Lorca's poetry, my secret stash of Vonnegut novels. She was studying art restoration at the university, passionate about breathing life back into faded frescoes. "Art isn't just pretty," she said, leaning against an orange tree. "It's memory. It's who we were, fighting to be remembered." Her words hooked into me, deep, like she'd seen the sketches I hid from my sisters. That night, over paella at a hole-in-the-wall in Santa Cruz, I confessed my first truth: I draw people, mostly. But not conventionally. She didn't pry, just nodded, her gaze steady. By the end of the week, we were meeting daily: coffee at the Metropole Parasols, sunset walks along the river where she'd point out hidden gargoyles on the bridges. Sophia was a whirlwind, orphaned young, raised by her abuela in a tiny flat above a bakery. She carried the weight of loss with a lightness that made me ache to hold her up. Giselle noticed first. "Who's the mystery girl?" she asked one evening, sprawled on our balcony couch, scrolling Instagram. "Saw you two giggling like idiots at that gelato place." "Just a friend," I muttered, heat rising. Mia glanced up from her laptop, eyebrows raised, but said nothing. They were my anchors, my identical mirrors, but lately, their reflections felt like distortions. The first kiss happened in October, during the Feria de Octubre. The fairgrounds pulsed with life, women in flamenco dresses swirling like flames, men on horseback parading under strings of lights. Sophia had snuck me into the private casetas, where the real magic happened, gypsy clans dancing sevillanas to the raw strum of guitars. We were tipsy on Rebujito, the fizzy wine punching through my veins, when she pulled me into a shadowed corner behind the tents. "You dance like you've got fire in your bones," she whispered, her breath warm against my ear. "And you look at me like I'm a masterpiece," I shot back, bolder than I'd ever been. Then she kissed me, soft at first, tentative, like testing the waters of a forbidden pool. But when I kissed back, it deepened, her hands framing my face, thumbs tracing the line of my jaw. The world narrowed to the taste of her, sweet, urgent, alive. For the first time, I wasn't pretending. We kept it secret, of course. Stolen moments in her abuela's garden, where bougainvillea climbed the walls like pink veins, late-night texts that made my phone glow under the covers. Sophia was my revelation, the color in a world I'd drawn in grays. She talked about her dreams, restoring the Alhambra one day, traveling to New York to see the Met. I shared my fears: the triplets bond, unbreakable yet fragile, the way Mom's Bible verses echoed in my head like judgments. "You're not broken, Talia," she'd say, tracing patterns on my palm with her fingertip. "You're just you. And that's enough." But secrets have a way of fermenting, turning sweet to sour. Giselle cornered me one afternoon in the kitchen, while Mom was at her new job teaching ESL and Dad buried in spreadsheets. "Spill it, sis. Sophia's not just a friend. I saw you two at the cathedral last week, holding hands like it was nothing." My stomach dropped. "It's complicated." "Complicated how?" Her blue eyes, our eyes, narrowed, protective. Giselle had always been the shield, the one who'd punch a bully for messing with Mia or me. But this was uncharted. "I'm gay, Giselle." The words tumbled out, raw and ragged. "I like girls. Sophia's. She's everything." Silence stretched, thick as the humid air. Then she hugged me, fierce, bone-crushing. Okay. Okay, Tao. We'll figure it out. But you have to tell Mom and Dad. We can't keep this from them forever. Relief flooded me, mingled with terror. For the first time, one sister knew. Maybe, just maybe, the triplets could bend without breaking. The winter rains came early that year, turning Seville's streets into mirrors that reflected our fractured light. November brought gray skies and the scent of chestnuts roasting on street corners, but for me, it was a season of blooming. Sophia and I carved out our hidden world, picnics in the Maria Luisa Park, where we'd lie on faded blankets and read aloud from her dog-eared copy of The House of the Spirits, whispered confessions in the dim glow of her abuela's sitting room, the old woman pretending not to notice as she knitted by the fire. "You're braver than you think," Sophia murmured one night, her head on my lap as rain pattered the tiled roof. Abuela had gone to bed early, leaving us with a pot of hot chocolate spiked with cinnamon. Coming all the way here, chasing sketches and stories. Most people stay scared their whole lives. I twirled a lock of her hair around my finger, dark and silky as raven wings. "It's easier when I have you to chase." But even as I said it, doubt gnawed. Giselle had kept my secret, for 2 weeks, then 3, but her glances grew heavier, laced with something I couldn't name. Worry. Pity. At dinner, she'd steer conversations away from Sophia, changing the subject when Mom asked about my new friend from the tours. Mia sensed the shift too. "Everything okay?" she asked one evening, cornering me in our shared bathroom as steam from the shower fogged the mirror. We triplets had always been like this, telepathic in our silences. Giselle's been weird. Like, pacing the balcony weird. I hesitated, the tile cold under my bare feet. Mia was the steady one, the listener. If Giselle was fire, she was earth. I told Giselle something. About me. And Sophia. Her eyes widened, but not in shock, more like recognition. "The drawing thing. I figured. You've always been the one who sees differently." She pulled me into a hug, her shampoo smelling of lavender fields we'd never actually seen. "I'm here, Tao. Whatever. 2 sisters now." The weight lifted, just a fraction. But families are ecosystems, delicate balances, and mine was tilting toward storm. The holidays amplified it all. Dad insisted on a proper American Christmas, in our Spanish exile, turkey shipped from a specialty shop in Madrid, Bing Crosby crooning from the speakers, tinsel draped over the wrought iron balcony. We hung stockings by the fireplace, Mia's filled with dog-eared paperbacks, Giselle's with flashy earrings she'd never wear. Mine. A new sketchpad from Sophia, slipped under the door with a note, "For the girl who redraws the world." Giselle found it first. I came downstairs to find her holding the pad, flipping through the pages I'd filled in secret, Sophia laughing mid-bite of churros, her profile against the sunset over the Plaza de España, our hands intertwined in pencil-soft lines. "This is intense," she said, voice tight. "It's love, G.I.'s." I snatched it back, heart pounding. "Real love." She nodded, but her jaw clenched. "Just be careful. Mom and Dad, they're old school. And here. Spain's progressive, but our family still got that Bible Belt baggage." I brushed it off, but the warning lingered. That night, as we exchanged gifts under the tree, Dad raised a toast, to my girls, Giselle, the trailblazer, Mia, the scholar, Talia, the visionary. "May you always find your way home." His words hit like a gut punch. Home. Was it this rented house with its echoing halls? Or the arms of a woman who made me feel seen? The new year dawned with tentative hope. Sophia invited me to her abuela's for Reyes, the Spanish Epiphany, where we'd gorge on roscan and hunt for the hidden figurine. Abuela, tiny, with silver hair pinned like a crown and eyes that missed nothing, welcomed me with a kiss on each cheek. "Mi Nina," she called me, her wrinkled hands cupping mine. Over sweet wine, she shared stories of her youth, a forbidden romance with a painter during Franco's shadow, the way love had smuggled her through checkpoints of fear. "You're like her," Abuela said to Sophia, winking at me. "Stubborn hearts, both of you." Sophia blushed, squeezing my knee under the table. For a moment, I imagined this as my future, rooted in these warm, chaotic dinners, far from the triplets' tether. But betrayal brews in the quiet hours. It came in February, on a crisp morning when the almond blossoms dusted the streets like snow. I was at Sophia's, tangled in her sheets, the light slanting through shutters in golden bars. We'd spent the night talking, about her applying for a fellowship in Barcelona, my dreams of art school in Chicago. "Come with me," she'd whispered, tracing the freckles across my nose. "We could start fresh." I wanted to say yes, but the triplets' bond held me back, invisible chains. "Soon," I promised instead. Downstairs, Abuela was frying churros when my phone buzzed. "Giselle, we need to talk. Now. Plaza de Armas. Urgent." Dread coiled in my gut. I kissed Sophia goodbye, a lingering press that tasted of goodbye, and hurried out. The plaza was alive with vendors hawking castanets and tourists snapping selfies by the fountain. Giselle waited on a bench, face pale, Mia beside her twisting a tissue. "What's wrong?" I dropped down, scanning for blood, for accident. "It's Mom," Giselle blurted. I told her. "About you and Sophia. The world grayed at the edges." "You what?" "I had to." Tears streaked her cheeks. "She kept asking why you're distant, why you're always out. I thought, God, Tal, I thought if we ripped the Band-Aid, it'd be okay. But she cried. Said it's a phase, or the city's fault. Dad's flying in from Madrid tonight." Mia's hand on my arm was gentle. We tried to soften it. But Giselle. She panicked. Betrayal isn't always malice, sometimes it's love twisted wrong. Giselle sobbed, "I'm sorry. I just wanted us to be us again. The three of us, unbreakable." But we were breaking, shards of the mirror we'd once been. I stood, numb, the plaza spinning. "You didn't trust me to do it myself." "Tal, wait," Giselle reached, but I was already walking, the river's murmur mocking my tears. I didn't go home. Instead, I found Sophia at the university library, her nose in a tome on Renaissance pigments. She took one look at me and pulled me into an alcove, her embrace a lifeline. "What happened?" I told her, words spilling like floodwater. She held me as I shook, her steady heartbeat against mine. "Families fight," she said softly. "But love. That's the part that endures." That night, the confrontation came like a storm off the Atlantic. Dad arrived with his suitcase still dusty from the train, face thunderous. Mom paced the living room, Bible open on the coffee table like a shield. Giselle and Mia flanked them, eyes downcast, accomplices now, or casualties. "Talia Marie," Dad started, voice low, the way it got before sales calls. "Sit down. We're talking this out as a family." I stood in the doorway, arms crossed, Sophia's borrowed scarf around my neck like armor. "There's nothing to talk out. I'm gay. Sophia's my girlfriend. Deal with it." Mom gasped, hand to her throat. "This isn't you, baby. It's that place, the parties, the wine. We'll get you help. Counseling. It's not a disease." My voice cracked, echoing off the stucco walls. "I've known since I was a kid. Hiding it was the sickness." Giselle stepped forward, tentative. "We love you, Tal. That's why. Why you betrayed me." The word hung, poisonous. Mia winced, but stayed silent. Dad rubbed his temples. "We're Americans, Talia. In Spain or not, we have values. This It goes against everything. Values? I laughed, bitter. Like pretending. Like watching you two date boys who treated you like trophies, while I choked on lies. The room fractured then, Mia defending me in quiet bursts, Giselle crumbling under the weight of her choice, Mom praying aloud in fractured Spanish she'd picked up from neighbors. Dad stormed out to the balcony, the door slamming like finality. In the aftermath, Sophia became my refuge. We walked the rain-slicked streets, her hand in mine a quiet rebellion. They'll come around, she said, but doubt shadowed her eyes. Her fellowship letter arrived mid-March, accepted, Barcelona calling. Come with me, she urged again. Or it'll be goodbye. I couldn't. Not yet. The Triplets pole was gravitational, even in orbit. April brought the Feria de Abril, Seville's grand masquerade. We went as a family truce, awkward, armed with unspoken rules. Giselle in a red manton, Mia in polka-dot simplicity, me in black lace that Sophia had helped choose. We danced in forced circles, the guitars wailed drowning our silences. But midway through a Sevillana, as skirts swirled and laughter bubbled falsely, I slipped away. Found Sophia in the crowd, her dress a cascade of emerald, eyes lighting like beacons. We danced, not the formal steps, but our own, slow, close, hands linked under the lights. Giselle saw. From across the tent, her face crumpled, not anger, but loss. Later, as fireworks bloomed over the river, she found me alone. I ruined us, she whispered. Trying to fix you. You can't fix what's not broken. I touched her arm, the first olive branch. But we can rebuild. Mia joined us, the three of us huddling like we had as kids during thunderstorms. I'm sorry too, she said. For not speaking up sooner. Tears mixed with the night's humidity. We're still triplets, I said. Different paths, same blood. The spring sun scorched away the winter's doubts, but summer simmered with unresolved heat. May arrived with jasmine riots in the air, and Sophia's departure loomed like a guillotine. We spent every stolen hour together, lazy afternoons in the Casa de Pilato's secret gardens, where we'd picnic on figs and manchego, her head on my shoulder as we watched peacocks strut. Barcelona's just a train ride, she'd say, but we both knew the distance was more than miles. At home, the fracture mended in fits and starts. Mom attended a PFLAG meeting, virtual, with a Spanish translator, her face pale on the laptop screen when she emerged. I don't understand, she admitted over chamomile tea one evening, just us two on the balcony. But I love you. That's the part one do know. Dad was slower, gruff apologies folded into fishing trips we never took back in Illinois. You're my girl, he'd mutter, clapping my shoulder. Always will be. Giselle and Mia. They became unlikely allies. Giselle dragged me shopping for city chic outfits, her way of saying sorry without words. You look hot, she'd grin, holding up a sundress. Mia curated playlists of indie folk, Hozier, Brandy Carlisle, slipping them to me with notes, for the road ahead. Still, the betrayal's scar itched. Late nights, I'd lie awake, the triplets' room a cocoon of shared breaths, wondering if trust could regrow like the figs on our neighbor's vine. Sophia left on a sweltering June morning. The Santa Justice station was a blur of farewells, her abuela pressing a rosary into my palm, tears carving tracks down her lined cheeks. Sophia and I clung on the platform, the train's horn a mournful wail. Write me, she whispered, her kiss fierce, tasting of farewell and fire. Every sketch, every sunset. I will. I love you. The words, once terrifying, now anchored me. She boarded, waving from the window until the curve swallowed her. I stood there long after, the platform emptying like a drained heart, until Giselle appeared with Mia in tow, arms laden with churros from a nearby cart. Come on, Picasso, Giselle said, linking her elbow with mine. Can't mope forever. We've got a river to stare at dramatically. We walked to the Guadalquivir, the the three of us trailing crumbs in silence. At the water's edge, Mia broke it, "She'll wait. And if not, there are more Sophias. More yous." Giselle nodded, squeezing my hand. I was scared, Tal, of losing the family we had. But this? Us, here. It's better. Messier, but real. The river carried their words away, a current of forgiveness. For the first time, I believed it. Summer deepened, and with it, my own departure. Art school acceptances flooded my inbox, RSD in Providence, calling me home to New England's crisp falls and bustling studios. I chose it, packing my life into a duffel while Mom baked farewell cookies, Dad awkwardly offering to drive me to the airport. The night before, the triplets threw an impromptu party on the balcony, sangria spiked with secrets, lanterns strung like fireflies. Giselle recounted our childhood escapades, the time we dyed our hair with Kool-Aid, convincing Mom it was a science experiment. Mia read fortunes from tea leaves, predicting adventures in rainbows. Laughter bubbled, genuine now, stitching us back. As dawn pinked the sky, Giselle pulled me aside. "About the betrayal. I get it if you hate me. I don't." I hugged her, fierce as our shared DNA. "You were trying to protect us. Just. Next time, let me lead. Deal." Her grin was pure Giselle, bold, unbreakable. Mia joined, the three of us swaying in a clumsy dance, the river below whispering approvals. We weren't identical anymore, not in the mirror's lie. But in the heart's truth, we were whole. I flew out 2 days later, the plane lifting over Seville's golden sprawl. From 30,000 feet, the city looked small, a mosaic of what-ifs and what-nows. Barcelona was a bullet train away, Chicago, a red-eye. Distance wasn't division, it was space to grow. Months blurred into semesters, Providence's ivy-choked paths, my first solo exhibit of charcoal portraits, Sophia's face prominent among them, shipped from Spain with a note, "Miss you like missing the sun. Visit soon." Giselle FaceTimed weekly, her dorm room in Ann Arbor a chaos of textbooks and boyfriends who never lasted. Mia, at Yale, sent care packages of herbal teas and dog-eared Lorca. The real test came at Thanksgiving. Home in Chicago, snow dusting the suburbs like powdered sugar. Mom's table groaned under turkey and fixings, Dad carving with theatrical flair. Giselle arrived with a +1, a lanky poli-sci major named Alex, all earnest debates and bad puns. Mia brought stories of New Haven's Gothic spires. I came alone, but not empty-handed. In my bag, a letter from Sophia, accepted to a New York restoration gig. "Meet me halfway." It read. "Over pie," I told them. Not as confession, but celebration. Sophia's moving stateside. We're giving it a go, long distance, then maybe more. Mom's eyes misted, but she smiled. Bring her next year. We'll make extra pie. Dad raised his glass. To Talia, the bravest of my girls. Giselle winked across the table, Mia's foot nudging mine under it. The triplets' bond, stretched across oceans and secrets, held. That Christmas, I met Sophia in Manhattan, her first American snow, my first real homecoming. We wandered Central Park under twinkling lights, her gloved hand in mine, the city a glittering promise. "This is us," she said, breath fogging the air. No more hiding. Back in Seville, in memory, the rain-soaked alley replayed, not as rupture, but reunion. Giselle's voice, once a shatter, now echoed as a call to truth. We're all different, in the end. Born tangled, we untangle, sisters straight and curved, paths diverging like rivers to the sea. But love. It pulls us back, human and whole, to the family we choose. And in that choosing, we find our way home.